Did it genuinely influence my productivity? Well, can you reap the same benefits from staying up late? I'm not gonna lie, this is actually a really good question. It was borderline transformational in both a good and bad way. I woke up at 5 a.m. every day for a month, and here is how it went. Hi guys, my name is Liddy and I'm a UK-based medical student. I run this channel with my friend Hazal and we use it to document our lives to becoming doctors and also share student tips along the way. For the past month, I have committed myself to waking up at 5 a.m. every single day. And yes, this was voluntary. I'll be touching on various topics such as my personal experience, realistic pros and cons, and practical tips as well if you're looking to introduce this into your routine. Let's jump straight into it. There are lots of reasons why people may decide to be part of the 5 a.m. club. This could be for exercise, this could be for productivity reasons, etc. Personally, I wanted to start waking up at 5 a.m. to dedicate that 2-hour period before I have to go get ready for hospital placement, for mindfulness, journaling, and if I have time, low impact work. I always struggled to find time in the day for quiet time and was just always occupied with medical school, this YouTube channel, my part-time job, and other commitments currently on my plate. So I thought to myself, let me stop complaining and actually take matters into my own hands. So I challenged myself to really prioritize this thing that I know really leaves me feeling peaceful, rejuvenated, positive, and just more refreshed and ready to tackle the day head on. And this was mainly because I came to the realization that where appropriate, in order to maximize your life, you need to be able to maximize your time. So why do I do low impact work specifically? As I mentioned, if I had time after doing my mindfulness, my quiet time, I'd squeeze in some low impact work, which would consist of reading or sorting out a few minor tasks before the day actually begins. And I know that this is very different to hustle culture, which tells you to wake up at 5 a.m. to run your 3 businesses, take your super healthy smoothie, and replicate Elon Musk's morning routine. This idea of doing high impact work in the mornings comes from the ideology that you essentially want to make the most out of your mornings and work at your maximum productivity during these sacred hours before commitments like your job kind of sweep in and steal that work ethic from you later on in the day. Because I think what many of us find is after we come back from school, after we come back from work, after we come back from that specific commitment, we're tired and we may not have the energy to actually invest in ourselves and things that may bring us fulfillment, things that we know are good for us, etc. But for me, I find that my personal schedule as a student managing multiple responsibilities is generally productive throughout the day anyways. So using this time in the mornings to do high impact work would actually lead to my days being pretty intense. So to use this time to do high impact work would probably lead to unnecessary stress and my burnout. Hence why I don't think it's appropriate for me and my current lifestyle. Which is why I'd rather use these hours at 5 a.m. to kind of ease myself into the day and work on my mindfulness, which has so many benefits that I'll touch on later on. Obviously, this would differ if I was waking up at 5 a.m. to study for exam season, or if I was working on my health and wanted to do some high impact gym workouts before my day begins. But I kind of wanted to provide a different angle towards this well-renowned practice of waking up at 5 a.m. As a medic who has to get to hospital placement for 8 a.m, as a student who has a social life and at times evening commitments with her friends, how did waking up at 5 a.m. look like for me? I want to emphasize that this is very lifestyle dependent, but essentially my routine on the weekdays and my routine on the weekends during this 5 a.m. month was very different. I had a weekday method and I had a weekend method for my 5 a.m. morning routine. So on weekdays, I'd implement a get up and stay up routine. I'd get up at 5 a.m. for some quiet time or journaling for at least an hour, and whatever time I have left, I may use it to do some low impact passive work such as scripting a YouTube video or getting some minor academic tasks out of the way. By the time I am done, it is 7 a.m. and this is the time that I actually get up, go shower, get ready for hospital placement, and have some breakfast as well before actually starting my day. On the weekends, however, I'd implement a get up, stay up, sleep routine. Before I explain properly what this entails, let me provide you guys with some context. Right now it is spring and academically I haven't yet entered an aggressive exam season where all I have to do is breathe and sleep studying. So because my weeks are generally go with all of the different commitments that I'm balancing, I like to dedicate my weekend weekends where I can to intentional limitation and rest. Intentional limitations means that I pick a selection of things that I want to get done on the weekends, ensuring that these are relatively minimal. So to free up my weekends, what I do is I pack up my weekdays with all of my commitments as much as I possibly can, so that I have this more intense period during the week and then a less intense period during the week. This ensures that throughout the 7 days, my brain is not working at 100 all of the time, as I don't think that this is a sustainable hustle or working mechanism. So due to the minimal nature of the commitments that I set up for myself on the weekends, I can afford to get up a little later in the day, like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. for example. I'm not a robot. I do like a cheeky lie-in here and there. So if I don't have to be up until 9 or 10 a.m., why am I getting up at 5 a.m. on the weekends? Taking into consideration that the tasks that I want to do in the mornings only take up 2 hours. Well, since I told myself that this month I was going to be waking up at 5 a.m. every single day, this also included the weekends. So as you can see, I had to try and find a way around this. This is where the get up, stay up, sleep routine comes from. On Saturday, Sunday, I'd get up at 5 a.m. as I usually do, stay up for like 2 hours to do some mindfulness, to do some low impact work, and then go back to sleep until I have to get up again later on in the day at like 10 a.m. So get up, stay up, do the task I want to do, and then go back to sleep. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking right now, what is the point of putting yourself through this just to wake up at 5 a.m? Well, apart from the personal challenge, there are so many benefits that I found waking up at 5 a.m. that it wasn't that difficult to implement this routine. So let's take a closer look at these so-called benefits. One key benefit that I found was that it forces you to have a healthier sleep-in schedule. I don't know about you, but if I don't have at least 7 hours of sleep, there is no way that I can physically get up at 5 a.m. So this has forced me to ensure that I get off TikTok and switch off the lights at 10 p.m. to get a good night's sleep, which I know is a huge difficulty for us young adults and students during this technological time in society. Another benefit is that my day starts off more positively, and it definitely has improved my overall mental health. I think we definitely underestimate the importance of implementing intentional time where you can kind of just switch off, be offline, and be grounded. Deep relaxation like meditation or mindfulness can actually relieve stress and anxiety, as well as improve your overall mood. There are also other potential benefits of deep relaxation, like decreasing your blood pressure, improving your immune system, and even relieving pain. Talking about the benefits, let's get straight into the juice. Did it influence my productivity? I'll be honest with you, if you're incredibly tired and not waking up at 5 a.m. in a sustainable fashion, then no, it probably won't improve your productivity. However, if you're getting that good sleep and actually doing this thing sustainably, then yes, it definitely can improve your productivity, and it definitely did improve mine. When I first started getting up at 5 a.m, I found it so difficult to kind of switch myself off at 10 p.m. because that's not how I'd set up my natural body clock. I was doing up TikTok binging at 11, at midnight, so it was so weird that I all of a sudden had to try and get myself to sleep at 10. Like it wasn't working at the beginning. So I'd wake up super tired, and it would be practically impossible for me to complete the tasks that I wanted to do in the mornings to the best of my ability. However, once I got the hang of it, I was shooting up in the morning, getting through my quiet time and mindfulness, getting through my low impact work, and it just made my mornings so much more productive. I feel much more collected overall, as I don't really have to rush in the morning. Another reason why waking up at 5 a.m. did influence my productivity positively is because self-discipline in this area of my life influence and encourage self-discipline in other areas. It genuinely has helped me to be a self-disciplined individual overall. Waking up at 5 a.m. is so romanticized on social media, but if we're being real, it is actually pretty hard to get into. But once you discipline yourself to actually get into it and you actually do it consistently, at that point you can pretty much conquer the entire world. I found myself getting more revision flashcards done throughout the day, making less excuses to edit that video, make that thumbnail, and just get it done. And I feel like at this point in my life, the only area that I'm lacking self-discipline is my non-existent gym life. So what about the cons? One of my most notable negatives about waking up at 5 a.m. is that you won't always sleep at 10 p.m. You won't always be able to get that 7 to 9 hours of sleep. because there are things to do, like there's life to be living. It's unrealistic to think you're not going to have any evening motives with friends or any commitments that stretch out into the evening. If, for example, I have a motive with friends or I want to do a movie night, do I have to be in a position where I have to consistently recalibrate my sleeping pattern in order to maintain this 5 a.m. lifestyle? Do you have to sacrifice areas of your social life to be in bed by a specific time because you want to wake up at 5 a.m. the next day? And the next thing on the cons list is, can you reap the same benefits by staying up late? Can you reap the same benefits without having to put yourself through this painful process of getting up before the sun is even out? And my answer to that is probably. You probably can reap the same benefits from waking up late. In my case, I'm doing low impact work, mindfulness. These are things that, realistically speaking, I could probably get them done late at night regardless of how tired I am. Especially if this low impact work is passive, to what extent will me doing this at night when I'm a bit tired influence the overall quality of the work I produce? So it begs the question, is there really a point of making myself wake up so early when you could just sleep a little late? And the next con is 5 a.m. on the weekends. I don't have much to say on this, but unless there is a specific reason why 5 a.m. and weekends, as students, I don't think any of us want them to be in the same sentence. They shouldn't be in the same sentence. Given these negatives, I do think that I'll be making a few adjustments to my overall routine going forward. I will touch on that later on in the video. If you're looking to join the 5 a.m. club and try it for yourself, here are some practical tips to help you do the same. Number one is do it with purpose. Have a reason for which you actually want to wake up at 5 a.m. or it's going to be very difficult to make yourself motivated or disciplined. Don't do it because it's a trend. Don't do it because you think it makes you a boss babe, but do it with intentionality. What do you want to get out of it? What is the purpose of doing it? Is it to read more? Is it to try and make it to the gym before you have to go to work? Is it to be more productive? One of my main reasons, as mentioned previously, is because it kind of just makes sense for me and my lifestyle. I have to go to hospital placement in the mornings and I can't always find time for myself when the business of the day rolls out. There is no right or wrong answer for this, but this is definitely a practical step that helped me stick with it for an entire month. Next thing is buffer time. Whenever you plan to start, give yourself like 3 to 7 days of this buffer period where you train yourself and alter your natural body clock to actually be able to get up at 5 a.m. Since I've started, I've only needed one alarm at 4:55 a.m. to get me up, and I've never snoozed once. If you are someone who snoozes a lot, you may choose to set up alarms 15 minutes or 30 minutes beforehand. Over time, it does seep into your natural body clock. There was this one time that I forgot to charge my phone and my body actually woke me up at 4:55 a.m., which is the time that I had been waking up for 2 weeks at that point. So train yourself and it does become a habit and you do get used to it. The third one is get up for 5 a.m., not at 5 a.m. Take that one in. Get up for 5 a.m., not at 5 a.m. Try your best to wake up just before the allocated time. This could be 20 minutes before if you're someone who snoozes. I personally, like I just mentioned, try to get up 5 minutes before. And this is so that for me, there is no opportunity to snooze and miss my alarm. I'm the type of person that if I get up at 5:15 a.m., I genuinely, at the beginning stages, would have used that as an excuse to kind of tell myself, you know, I missed the mark. I guess I have to go back to bed now and try again tomorrow. And I promise you, I would have done this consistently and continuously until I missed an entire month and an entire opportunity to self-discipline myself. So if you're like this, try your best to mitigate against it. My next point would be to set boundaries. Let those around you know that you are trying to get into this 5 a.m. routine so that they can adapt certain things to you where possible. For example, for me, my family would call me at like 10 p.m. to check up on me, have a little catch up about my day. But obviously I need 7 hours of sleep, so 10 p.m. is now the time that I had to be sleeping. I kindly and politely told them about this new 5 a.m. routine that I required and asked them to just call me a bit earlier. So now they call me at 8 p.m, you know, a few hours before I need to sleep. And it just works out way better for my overall routine. For you, boundaries could mean not taking any work shifts after 10 p.m. It could mean making sure that you leave the library at 8 p.m. so that you have enough time to eat dinner and get into bed. It can mean telling your flatmates to avoid making a lot of noise at 10 p.m. when you're trying to sleep. Set boundaries for yourself. It makes things so much more easier and it really does help. The next thing is sleep early. This is a given, but it does need to be reiterated. Keep it healthy. Get enough sleep. We are not here to suffer. The National Sleep Foundation actually recommends getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep per day. Regardless of the time you are getting up, we want to feel refreshed, well rested, and just ready to conquer the day. Our next step would be to introduce naps. This leads on perfectly from my previous point. Make it sustainable. You don't have to suffer and make this a strenuous process. You can wake up at 5 a.m. and enjoy it. So one of the things that have made this sustainable for me is normalizing 1 hour naps during the day if you can afford to. Some days you may find yourself super tired. I may get back from placement and find myself just way too tired to even start doing flashcards. Take that 1 hour nap. Fill up your batteries so that you can wake up recharged and ready to actually get through your tasks. It doesn't make you lazy. It personally makes me more productive if I wake up energized and ready to learn. Moreover, it kind of does contribute to the overall amount of sleep that I'm getting per day. And the last one is accountability buddy. You are more likely to get things done if there is someone there keeping you on track. I personally didn't do this 5 a.m. challenge with anyone, but obviously Hazal knew about it, so she'd regularly check in on me to make sure that I was keeping on top of things. And this was definitely encouraging and actually helped me stick with it. Going forwards, the real question is it worth it, and what will my routine look like? During this period of my life, waking up at 5 a.m. has been defined as a non-negotiable because I can afford to make that decision. I had less motives and less commitments that could potentially disrupt this routine. But realistically, I couldn't have done this in February, for example, where I had my birthday going on and a few other things that made it a bit more intense. Is it worth it, and would I recommend it? My answer is that it depends. I know it's not the answer you wanted, but it does depend. It depends on your lifestyle, it depends on what you want to get out of it, but I'm gonna be honest, it is definitely not for everyone. If I did it purely for productivity reasons, to do more flashcards, to film more YouTube videos, it just wouldn't have made sense for me because these are things that I can naturally insert into my weekly schedule anyways. But because I did it to address areas in my life where I had been slacking, i.e. mindfulness, which I've seen a huge improvement in, it has been so worth it. Borderline transformational. I feel like a lot of the time, all we ever do is consume large quantities of information, being constantly connected as the world moves at a fast pace. So taking a pause from all of that to reflect, journal, and reclaim your focus to actually do the internal work is so invaluable. We need to be giving our bodies and our minds necessary time to repair and be rejuvenated. But will I continue waking up at 5 a.m. every day? Moving forward, I think with all these different benefits, this is definitely something that I'm going to continue to do throughout the year. In saying this, because I've decided to continue it throughout the year, I will have to introduce more leniency and flexibility because things may come up in life. I may travel, which will introduce a change in time zone. I may have a motive that doesn't finish by 10 p.m. and so I won't get enough sleep to wake up at 5 a.m. When it hits exam season, I may have days where I'm stressed and overwhelmed and really need that 12 hours plus of sleep. Adapt it to you. If this is something you want to do, despite all these different changes of life, you need to be able to adapt it to you. But the main thing is 90% of the time, I probably will be waking up at 5 a.m. as part of my morning routine. Whether it's the get up and stay up routine or the get up, stay up, sleep routine, this will be restricted to the weekdays. As for the weekends, for the reasons that I mentioned previously, I'll probably keep this more fluid and determine my morning routine for Saturday, Sunday, based on the commitments that I have that particular weekend. To ensure that my sleeping pattern is not interrupted for Monday or for any other day, I'll probably try my best to get 7 hours of sleep Monday to Sunday, weekend, weekday. Just try and make that a non-negotiable where I can, so that I don't have to be constantly recalibrating my sleep pattern. If you want more information on how Hazal and I manage our 50-hour work week, then check out the video that will be on screen somewhere. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.